Morning. I'm sitting here with Velvet Phillips Sullivan, and it's at Rocks and Things, her shop in Whitefish, Montana. And we're here to talk about her recent trip over to the 13 Indigenous Grandmothers Conference Council that was held on one of the reservations in southeastern Montana. And Velvet, why don't you just sort of give me some of the highlights of it and what you felt the whole thing was about?
Well, a few years ago, this guy named Father Charlie came, and he said that in indigenous peoples, there was always a grandmother's council, and the purpose of the grandmother's council was to bring in the wisdom for the people, and that then it was up to the grandfather's council to carry out the wishes of the grandmothers. And so when I heard about this grandmother gathering, which consisted of 13 indigenous grandmothers from all over the world, I felt like I was called to go. And so there were only 10 there, but there was a grandma from Alaska, there was a grandma from Brazil, there was a grandma from Mexico, there was a Mayan grandma, a Hopi grandma, a grandma from Nepal, and 2 Lakota grandmothers. I think one of them there was only there for one of the days, but they did ceremony and worked on healing the wounding on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation that occurred as a result of Wounded Knee and when the United States government took them from their land and how they fled back to their land.
And what was the purpose of the council gathering at this point?
Well, the theme for the gathering this time was healing generational trauma and shifting into gratitude.
And along with that, the Hopi tradition of the gathering of the grandmothers played a big part.
Yes, when this council was created, there was a Hopi grandmother on the council, and she knew the Hopi prophecies, and one of the Hopi prophecies says that when the grandmothers gather from the 4 directions, healing will begin.
And what does that mean, in your opinion?
Well, at the time that they called the grandmothers together, that they found all the grandmothers, there's still a lot of indigenous people living in oppression. There's a lot of environmental problems going on, and this council of grandmothers came together to support freeing people from oppression, eliminating war from the world, and bringing humans back into balance with the planet.
And how many of these councils have they had so far, or is this the first one, and will there be other ones?
Their first gathering was in 2004 in Alaska, and as I understand it, they gather about twice a year. All the grandmothers come together, and the next one will be in October in Nepal.
Okay. And what are they hoping to accomplish? Bringing collective consciousness to a higher level?
Bringing healing, bringing peace to the planet, supporting clean water, clean air.
And are there ways that people that might have an interest in this area to continue to find out more about it and to go to other sources besides yourself? And
well, currently you can Google the 13 Indigenous Grandmothers Council. They have one movie out on DVD, and they're about to release another one. I think it's called For the Next 7 Generations. Don't quote me on that. And there's a possibility that we could bring it to the Flathead and do a screening here.
okay.
There's the Center for Sacred Studies that does a lot of fundraising for them. They have a book out. You can just find it on the internet. The other thing too is that if you're called where the grandmothers meet, you can go there. The other thing that the grandmothers do as individuals is they go to different areas around them where they do workshops and lectures. So we have a grandmother here in Montana Grandma Margaret Behan, who possibly we could bring her here.
Okay, and these grandmothers, on an average, are they, what are their ages,
As
approximately?
as I understand it, like 65 to 90, I think.
Okay, and who is the initial grandmother that called the grandmothers together?
Well, her name is Jyoti, and she has the Center for Sacred Studies,
Mm-hmm.
and she had a vision of these grandmothers gathering.
So was she carrying anything special as far as energy goes, physical aspects?
Well, I think she's a healer, and she promotes retaining indigenous healing practices around the world. So when she had this vision to call the grandmothers together, she just put letters out, and if a grandma couldn't do it, then she would refer another grandma until they found the grandmas that were for the council. And then one of the grandmothers, the grandma in Alaska, she was 9 years old when her great grandmother came to her and gave her a bundle, and in the bundle were 13 stones and 13 eagle feathers that were to be given. She was to carry them and take care of them until the grandmothers gathered. So her great grandmother had a vision of these grandmothers gathering as well.
Oh. All right, well, thank you very much, Velvet, and look forward to talking with you in the future. Thank you.
Oh,